Hey, this is Cody Kearsley from Daybreak and Riverdale, and you're listening to Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to another episode of the Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to the party, pal!
You're my boy, Blue!
Yo, Adrian!
A podcast with interviews of amazing guests from the world of pop culture.
Oh, yeah!
TV.
Nice!
Movies.
Oh, I love the movies!
Comedy and more. From deep inside the Man Cave, your host, Elias.
Cody, welcome to the cave.
Hey, what's up, man?
How are you, man? What's new with you?
I'm good. I'm in Vancouver right now. How you doing?
Good. So let's get this thing going, man. You've been busy the last few years. The listeners know you from Riverdale as Moose, and then you have a new show on Netflix, Daybreak, and you play Turbo. You've been busy, man.
Yeah. I've been trying to keep busy. It's been good. It's been a good couple of years.
What's that?
It's been a good couple of years.
Yeah. So I want the listeners to get to know a little bit more about you. Where are you originally from?
So I'm from a place called Oliver in British Columbia, in Canada. It's like really tiny town out in the Okanagan Valley. Yeah.
So how was it growing up there?
How was it?
How was it growing up there? Yeah.
It was cool. It was like 3,000 people. Like everybody knows everybody, right? So I couldn't wait to get out. I always wanted to move to the city, so when I turned 18, I actually moved to LA. I just needed to. I know I always really wanted to do some sort of artistic performing, have something I've done, so I knew I needed to get out, so I moved to LA right away.
Yeah. So did you know right away you wanted to get into the acting world?
Yeah, I mean, I had done performance since I was 3. Like I took some dance classes. I would do like summer theater camps. I did plays in school, so I always knew I wanted to be some sort of performer.
Did you now was there like a specific movie or TV show that pushed you towards this when you were growing up watching?
No, you know what? We didn't really. I didn't have TV growing up. I would watch movies sometimes with my friends. I never really, like when I went to acting school, all the kids had, their favorite actors, their favorite movies. I spent most of my nights after school just staying up all night watching 4 or 5 movies in a night, trying to get as much content as I could possibly get, because I didn't really know much about movies or TV before I went to acting school. My only experience of it was doing plays, being on stage.
Yeah. So what inspired you to get into the field? Was there did you see did you watch a certain play or something, or you just you knew this is what you wanted to go do?
I mean, when I was 3 years old, I was watching my cousins at this dance recital, and I just kept trying to get up on stage. And one kept trying to pull me off, and I was trying to escape to get up there. So the next year she put me in some classes, and then just as soon as I was on stage, I just felt relaxed and more at home, right?
Yeah.
Because actually I have Tourette, so I had a lot of facial tics. But whenever I'm on stage, whenever I'm acting, I never did it. This is where I felt the most comfortable, right?
Wow. So what was the next step? So you 18, you moved to LA. Did you take acting classes in LA when you got there?
Yeah. I went to a theater school called a theater conservatory called Theater of Arts in Hollywood, and yeah, for those 3 years, and it was a lot of classical theater based. So it was a lot of Shakespeare, Chekhov, Moliere, and I just fell in love with the craft during that time. And then I worked with a Shakespeare theater company called Art Theater Company during my time at school as well, and then just did some plays here and there around LA afterwards.
Yeah. So what? While you were going to school and everything, were you auditioning for TV and movies?
No, I mean one of the things you're not really supposed to audition when you're in school. I mean, people do anyways, but I was so focused on just learning as much as possible. I was just I was fully immersed in school, and also afterwards, I didn't have my O1 visa. I just had a student visa, so I couldn't get an agent. I couldn't do it. No one would even look at me, so I wasn't really ever auditioning when I was in LA.
Oh, wow. Did you, so how old were you when you started auditioning?
I didn't start auditioning until I was, I was 18. I graduated through school when I was 21. I got moved back to Vancouver when I was 23. Then I got my agent at 24. So I started auditioning when I was 24.
Wow. Do you remember your first audition that you went out for?
Oh, yeah. My first TV audition was as Zombie. Yeah, it was Zombie.
Okay, on CW, yeah. I remember that.
On CW.
Yeah.
I ended up booking a role in that 4 years later, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah. Wow, that's kind of interesting how like you went out for that, and now you have a recurring role on CW's Riverdale, which it's a fantastic show. What do you think so far about it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, that was my first major role that I booked, like a recurring character that had his own arc.
Yeah.
Right? So it was, it was the biggest learning experience for me. I got to go on there and just learn how. Cause also in school, like no one teaches you how to, one, really behave on set or like what the things are. I didn't even know how to read a call sheet,
Yeah.
So when I showed up there, I had no idea what the fuck was going on. There's so many people running around, so many different jobs. I'm like, what is this? So Riverdale just gave me the opportunity to really dive in and figure out how the industry works and how the set life works.
Yeah. Did you
it's been really great.
Did you ever read the Archie comics?
I did, yeah. My cousins had all of them, so I used to read them when I went over to their place.
Yeah. So when you went for your audition for Moose, tell us about that. When you went in there for the first time.
It was cool. I actually went. I think I went out for Archie first. I think everyone kind of read the Archie side.
Yeah.
And then I got a call back. I'm pretty sure I read for Reggie. And then I didn't hear anything for, a few weeks. And then I got a random call and was like, hey, you booked Moose. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah.
How would you, for the people that haven't seen the show, like, how would you describe Moose?
Moose is just, a regular high school kid who's, still trying to figure himself out, still trying to look confused. He's a little confused of who he is. Trying to, he's still coming to terms with sexuality, and it starts off where he's, a little bit in denial and also hiding it.
Yeah.
He's a little shy of who he is, which I think most kids can relate to. They're always pretty protective over their true selves. They don't want to get roasted, or they don't want to stand out. And throughout the season, he just, he's really caring, and he eventually he comes out, and that's his journey. He comes out to his father. He becomes open in school, and it's a pretty big journey for him.
Yeah. Would you be friends with Moose if he was a real person?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I played basketball and soccer and stuff through school, so I was friends with the Jocks. I was kind of friends with everyone in school. I kind of bounced around a lot, so I would be friends with Matt Moose. He's a good guy.
So my next question was, how would you like? Are we gonna see Moose again this season? I know we just recently saw him.
Yeah, potentially. I can't say anything, but potentially we'll see him again.
So, do you like doing that, coming in and out of the show a few times while you're working on other projects?
I do, yeah, because I'm kind of on hiatus right now. We're still waiting to see Daybreak gets picked up for season 2. Yeah. So I'm in Vancouver, just I'm working on a play and working on a short film. So I don't really have too much going on. So it's nice to kind of jump in there and just be on set, keep the creative flow alive.
So in Riverdale, do you have like a favorite scene or episode that you were in?
I actually really love the scene that I get shot in the car when I'm with Midge.
Oh yeah,
really? Me and Midge are like making out. Yeah, me and Midge are making out, and then the Black Hood comes. And
that was in the woods, right? I'm trying to remember now too.
In the woods, yeah.
Okay.
I love the music they put behind that when they cut the scene. It was really dope because that was like the first, like it was like I got shot and then it pops up like Riverdale. It was kind of cool.
Sort of all the cast members, like who's like, do you have a favorite scene with a certain cast member, and do you have a certain cast member that you like working with?
Yeah, I mean, I love Casey Cott. We work really well together, and we're boys outside too. So I really like him, and he's great to work with. He's a great actor. Mm. All of our scenes are fun.
Yeah. If you could change something about your character, what would it be?
Change something?
Yeah.
He wouldn't be on the bench so much during football season. I remember the first season, like we had so many football scenes, and Moose was just always on the sideline. I wish he was a little bit better at sports, I guess.
Did you ever play football? Because I know on Daybreak you're a jock and you football player also, right?
No, I mean we like I said, my school was 3,000 people, so we didn't really have much at our school as far as equipment or resources. So we didn't have a football team.
Oh wow!
But we played like we had, we would play at lunchtime, like just as friends get together and just go like tackle each other and throw the ball around. But I didn't know anything about football. I didn't really know the rules or anything.
Yeah.
So for Daybreak, like this is embarrassing. I'm sure I get roasted for this, but when I booked Daybreak, I had to learn a lot about football. I was a quarterback, so I didn't even know there was separate teams for the offense and defensive line.
Oh, wow.
Like that's how literate I was about football. Yeah.
So let's talk about Netflix Daybreak. How did you get involved with that project?
Oh man, that was just I got a manager in the States after Riverdale, so I started getting a little bit more U.S. Or LA based jobs, and I just got the audition and I fell in love with it, and luckily I booked it.
Yeah. Now, for the listeners that haven't really seen the show yet, without spoiling, can you tell them a little bit what's it about?
Yeah, so essentially, something has happened where we're now living in this barren, post-apocalyptic world in Glendale, California, where there's a bunch of dangers, including zombies, mutated creatures, and all the adults are dead or turn into zombies. Sorry, my arms go. Yeah. So, sorry, did you hear that?
Oh yeah. So,
my alarm kept going off. 1 second. Yeah. So essentially, all the kids in school have formed these tribes based off of their social standing. So the leaders have their tribe, the jocks have their tribe, the nerds have their tribe, and we're all just trying to fight each other and survive and not get eaten by zombies.
Yeah, and also at the same time, there's like a little like comedy to this, also, right?
It's for sure a dark comedy.
Yeah,
it's very funny.
So you play Turbo. How would you describe Turbo?
Man, so Turbo he was a star quarterback. He was the football captain. He was like the star of the school. He was like big man on campus. And after the apocalypse happened, he got all messed up. His face is burned. He can't speak. He's basically turned to this monster. But he also feels like he's in charge. He needs to be in charge. He needs to protect the kids and rule this tribe so that everyone survives, essentially. So he's just become this animalistic, ruthless leader who deep down is just, missing his parents like every other kid in the show. But is just doing his best to try to protect everyone and survive.
Mm-hmm. Do you like the way your character is portrayed on this? How you go from like, just a quarterback, jock, to all of a sudden you're not really a monster, but you're like the way you described him.
Yeah. I think Turbo sometimes views himself as a monster. There's a scene where he's looking in the mirror and it kind of hits him pretty hard. Yeah. But what was the question? Do you like playing him?
Yeah, like do you like
how he's portrayed?
Do you like the way he's portrayed and the way he like changes throughout the season?
Yeah, I love the way it starts off, like, because I was actually creating a football strategy guide before the apocalypse, and then after the bombs dropped, in my notebook, I switched it over to like a militant strategy guide. Like where to find the resources, what are the best formations to attack ghoulies. So the natural progression from being a quarterback to being a military leader is actually incredibly intelligent. The writers that was so smart to me. So they portrayed him really well. And when all this stuff is revealed in episodes 5 and 6, like there's a lot of empathy for him. You got to understand why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really great.
So how did you prepare for this role, and what kind of research did you do?
So I started off with just learning about football, and in learning about football, it really taught me a lot about also, how we would survive, how I would organize my tribe, what roles there would be, what jobs there would be, how we put people in different things for their different strengths, different weaknesses. So it started off as me learning how to build an army of children, and then I got inspiration. Like I was researching, Attila the Hun, Genghis Khan, Caligula, all these kind of tyrannical leaders. For better or for worse, all the different things that they might have done. And because I had a mask on, I did a lot of animal work. It's kind of it's one tool that you kind of learn in acting class sometimes is you just embody an animal and you become the animal. A lot of humans have animal characteristics. So I took on a griffin, so the body of a lion, the head of an eagle. Quarterback's always surveying the land, so he's always his head's very still. He's always watching everything. His body's very lion-like, right? He's aggressive all the time. So I sat in just feeling like a griffin, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just did a bunch of things like that, trying to figure out where he sat.
What Has there been any challenges playing the role?
I mean, the one big one is there's a lot of grunting, a lot of shouting, so sometimes my voice would be a bit sore at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And also, the prosthetics took about 3 hours to put on every day and 1 hour to take off. So that was pretty grueling.
Yeah. Do you how was it filming the series?
Amazing. It was the time of my life. It was incredible.
Yeah. So
like everything about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you? What's the difference? What's the difference? Would you say playing Turbo and then playing Moose? Because they're kind of similar in a way. You know, they're both football players. That's why I want to get your take on that.
Yeah. It's funny because the last season Moose moved away to Glendale, and he very easily could have. And Glendale's where Daybreak set. Moose could have very easily became Turbo when he was in Glendale.
Yeah.
They both have similar sexualities. They're both football players. They're both part of the Jocks.
Yeah.
But very different. Moose is just a smaller character than Turbo. You just learn a little bit more about Turbo's backstory. And we're just in a different world. We might have been similar people pre-apocalypse, but in the post-apocalypse, we're just different people now. It's a different world. People are dying. It's a normal thing. We're fighting to survive. Yeah. What's
the biggest difference between filming Riverdale and Daybreak, you would say? Difference-wise, like on the set?
Well, we were in Albuquerque for Daybreak, which was cold as hell. It was so cold. We shot all winter. I guess Riverdale was cold in winter. Yeah. What is the biggest difference? I think, honestly, the scale of Daybreak, I hadn't seen something that big. Riverdale, we're usually on the lot. We usually at the studio lot. Yeah. And all of our sets are kind of built. Daybreak, we were on location a lot. We were shooting the malls. We were shooting around the city. My truck was driving around the city. So we did a lot of location work. And just the scale of the amount of drones and crane shots they had and the amount of extras and moving parts. We would have 50 zombies and 50 jocks on motorbikes, dune buggies, and then so just the scale of it was, there's a lot going on at Daybreak. It's great.
So on Daybreak, are you doing your own stunts?
I tried as much as possible to do them. They all often didn't let me,
yeah.
But I tried to. I was riding the side of the dune buggy. I did most of the fight scene at the end with Burr. But things there's a scene where he hits me, he hits my head, he knocks me out, and I basically fall flat on my back. That wasn't me.
Oh wow! Do you have? Is that your? Would you say that's your favorite moment on the show, or do you have another favorite scene that you were in?
I really like the scene where I'm using that kid for therapy, where I'm pretending he's my dad and making him read motivational quotes off the posters.
Yeah.
That scene came together really well. They edited it really well. It's pretty funny.
No,
I like any time I was on top of the throne car. Anytime I had my army and the motorbikes around me.
Yeah.
That was always fun.
So getting away from Daybreak now. So what do you enjoy more when you're auditioning? Do you enjoy more doing the self tape, or do you like going in front of people?
It changes. I used to always prefer in front of people. Now I prefer self-tape, but it goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Because it's like theater. There's nothing like that immediate gratification where you can feel the energy of people in the room. It's in real time. That energy you can't get on film. But when you're doing film, you can redo it and you can play around with it a little bit. Theater is live, and live auditions is live. You get one shot, and that's it.
Yeah.
Self-tape, you can kind of play around with it.
What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you in a live audition?
In a live audition, craziest thing that's happened to me?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything
craziest or funniest moment.
I fell. On my first thing I ever booked actually was Power Rangers. There was one line, and I think they cut out most. I had 3 lines. They cut out all of them except for one. But in that audition, I basically in the scene he runs away because the cops are coming, and I ran and I fell flat on my ass. I slept on the rug.
Oh man. Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. We did some weird shit. I did an audition for, I can't remember what it was for, Dirk Gently, I think, and I was a character with a sword, and I brought in a Swiffer pole, and they looked at me like I was a complete idiot. They're like, "What are you doing?"
Wow.
Just mime it. All right. Not that.
So so you've been in the acting world for a few years now. Do you have any like people that you look up to, any influences that you want to watch their stuff over and just try to model after them?
Yeah, I mean, Tom Hardy, Michael Fassbender, Gary Lewis, all these people, right? But it just in Vancouver, just every time I do a play, I'm always working with great actors, just getting inspired by the people that really care about the work around you, that are really invested in stories and trying to grow. That's always what inspires me the most. Yeah. The actors that are like still trying to, like for lack of a better term, struggling artists, the actors that are still like so passionate and doing this is their life,
Now, do you have you own a theater company, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yes, it's called Vagrant Players Theater Society. Opened it in 2017. Actually incorporated it on my birthday, March 10th, 2017. And yeah, we're just about to do our 5th play in January. It's going to be a world premiere of the Canadian play by Bill Marchant. And that's kind of, every time I'm not filming, every time I'm not working on something, I kind of come back and produce a play or direct a play and just, reset my creative energy. So I always get rejuvenated by being on stage.
Yeah. What do you find? Is it like a big, like a high for you? Like, do you enjoy theater more than TV, or like, what do you enjoy more?
I think there's good and bad things about both of them. Like on stage, you get to live out the whole character at once. You get to live out the whole story, right? Yeah. And in film, you're shooting out of order. You're shooting, you don't really get to follow that arc as much and your own character prep. So, but film there's something incredibly intimate about film. You can be just like, you forget about everything in the room. It's the person you're in front of. Audience, theater, you're always playing the audience. It's good and bad things. I don't know. I like both. I can't really say which one I like better.
Yeah. What do you think has been the hardest role that you ever had to play?
Hardest role. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say Turbo's a hard role, but there was definitely probably the most preparation involved, which I like. I guess it'll be Turbo, but I like that. I like the more research I have to do, the better. So,
do you have is there someday, do you have like a dream role you want to play?
Yeah, I don't know what they are yet.
Yeah.
It's always something that's completely different than me, because I want to explore like anything that's nothing to do with me, different circumstances, different mindset, different culture. Anything that the farthest person away from me, that's my dream role.
Yeah. So on your downtime, when you're not working, what do you enjoy doing?
I mean, I'm in Vancouver, so there's so many great outdoor stuff to do. There's so many great hikes, and there's rock climbing, and I go to the gym, do yoga, and just hang out with people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something social and creative and active.
Where do you see yourself 10, 20 years from now? And where do you see yourself in 2020? What's coming up for you?
2020? Well, I'll be producing my first feature film. I opened a production company this year, so I'll be producing film, producing a couple plays. I really hope Daybreak Season 2 gets renewed. That'd be amazing. I would love to be back on there.
Yeah.
And just keep moving forwards, making a name for myself in film and theater. I just recently did my first lead in a feature. It is Bruce Willis film, the sci-fi film in Georgia. But I'd like to get more into film. I'd love to do a really great, like raw, R-rated, independent film.
Yeah. Tell us about the film with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, that was cool. It was basically me and my wife and our unborn child. We get into the spaceship and we're going to Earth 2.0 because Earth has been infected by this plague, and we get attacked by aliens. So we defend the ship, and then Bruce Willis is there and he jumps in and helps us defend the ship. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. So what's next for you? Yeah. So like now you're on you said you're on hiatus now?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see if Daybreak gets picked up. I think that's about it.
Yeah. So lastly, how can the listeners find you on social media? What are you active on?
My Instagram is at Cody Kearsley. My Twitter is, I believe, at Kearsley Cody. And that's about all I use.
All right. Is there anything else you want to tell listeners before we end this?
I can't think of anything right now.
All right, Cody. This was fun. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.